Surface Go 2 is coming. The Surface Go 2 is coming out soon, at least according to leaks from several different sites. I currently have the Surface Go right now myself. We've had it for about 18 months. My kids use it. I use it. My wife uses it. I use it at the office, or did use it at the office, and even use it on sales calls from time to time. So it's a great device, but some of the upgrades may be worth it and or may not be, depending on what you are going to be using it for. So that's what we'll talk about based on the available leaks. And according to Windows Central, there will be a few interesting changes. Now there will be an M3 processor, which will supposedly be about 30% faster than the original processor, or maybe 40% faster than what I have in my current Surface Go 2, and about 30% faster than the Gold Pentium processor. So let's go ahead and take a look at that so we could see if that even makes sense. But before I purchased the Surface Go, I actually was using the original Surface Book, then the Surface Book 2, with before that the Surface Book with Performance Base to run my whole business. And the most important thing I found was the 16 gigabytes of RAM. So I did get the Surface Go 2 with more RAM when I originally bought the Surface Go. I mean, the Surface Go, I purchased it with the 8 gigabytes of RAM. And I think regardless of which processor you get, I highly recommend you get more RAM, because Windows will use the RAM if you let it use it. Now, this little computer here was really probably created to not be doing more than two things at once, because it is dual core. So it's not quad core, meaning it doesn't have 4 processing units. It only has 2. So you're not going to be doing a lot of multitasking, but we are able to do sending emails and opening Chrome and opening the Edge browser at the same time, for example. But we're not able to do 10 different things. You're not going to open 30 different tabs on this. If you think that's what you're going to do, that's not going to work. The Surface Go or Surface Go 2 will not be for you. But if you get the 8 gigabytes of RAM version, even regardless of what processor, you should be fine for email, for reading ebooks, even for uploading things to Dropbox. These are some of the things I do with it. I would not recommend installing like a antivirus program or Dropbox on this, because it's just going to slow it down. So that's what I would recommend. Now, according to the benchmarks we have some over here from CPU Monkey for the Pentium Gold, we're looking at about 2223 for that specific processor. So that's what we're looking at. And then if you look at the M3, these are both for the Surface Go 2. These are supposedly what the leaked specs will be. So things may change when the actual computer comes out, but this sounds right. So we'll just go with this. So we just looked at the Pentium Gold specs, or pass mark score, which is just a score of how powerful the actual processor is. So let's look at the M3, which could be another option. So the M3 score looks like it's 2900. So that's about 33% faster. So, I mean, if you want to do a little bit more, or you plan on using Google Chrome with the Surface Go 2, maybe you should get the M3, but it might be $100 more when you could pay that $100 to get the keyboard. Remember, the accessories don't come with it. You'll need to get a keyboard and a pen if you're going to use those things. But what is great about owning the Surface products, at least so far, is that a lot of times the accessories will work from generation to generation. And right now they're saying the bezel size on the computer will decrease, but the screen size will increase by 1/2 inch, and it'll be the same form factor. So I'll be able to use this same UGA, or what's the name of this? I don't even remember. Kensington case that I use on mine. And I'll be able to use the same keyboard. So for $400, I can have a new updated version that's a little bit faster and keep the accessories. Would I do it over again? No. This I would probably just use to take notes. I'll still just keep using this one to take notes and watch videos. It's like an iPad Air. That's what I would compare this to from the PC side, the power of an iPad Air and in a Windows 10 form factor. So that's what I would recommend. If you need something that you can run OneNote, Chrome browser, and watch YouTube videos and listen to Spotify all at the same time, I would recommend the Surface Pro. Even the base model Surface Pro with an i5 and 128 gigabytes of memory, you could upgrade it with a micro SD card. To me, that's a better deal because it is going to start at $800 or $900, but you'll be able to use that computer for years. I had a Surface Pro 3, my wife, that I got for my wife until she dropped it one day because we didn't have a case for it, which is why I have cases for all of them now. She had it for 3 years and it was still, she would still be using it today because it had an i5, and that was dual core. Now they are quad core. So those quad core computers, even though they're mobile versions, you'll still be able to multitask a lot easier. So I would recommend getting something that's quad core if you really need to be doing a lot of intensive work in Excel, Chrome, OneNote, and you have 4 different programs open at the same time. You need a real processor. Now, if you're video editing, you're not going to edit videos on the Surface Go. You could use Power Director if you close all the other programs. There's a program called Power Director at $70. And, you know, using the keyboard on this, you can edit videos with this. You can edit HD videos with this using Power Director. I wouldn't recommend trying to use Adobe Premiere or DaVinci Resolve on this or anything like that because they use a lot of memory. But Power Director is really good when you don't have a lot of processing power, and it does most of the things you'll need to do. If you want to edit some family videos, go check out Power Director. I don't get paid for saying that. I've just been using it for years. I still use Adobe for our consulting work and doing something that's heavily produced. We have video editors that do that for us. So they have their own Adobe Premiere. I don't have to worry about it. But for something fast and quick like a YouTube video, I use Power Director. So that's what I would use. But again, you want to get the 8 gigabytes of RAM model. Now, if this is for your kids, because they're going to be, you know, doing the homeschooling thing, or because of the way the world is right now, all the kids are at home learning from home, 4 gigs of RAM may be enough. But if you're going to save that $100, I'd rather say just don't get the keyboard and get the 8 gigs of RAM. Then you could always do a adapter, USB adapter, or a Bluetooth keyboard, cheap one or one that you already have at home, and just connect it to the computer. That'll make the computer lighter too. I do still recommend getting this case I have for it, because if it's for your children and they drop it, it won't break. And I like the Surface Go 1. It still serves its purpose. We use it. I use it for note taking. But like I said, I've had the Surface Book with performance base, the Surface Book 2 15-inch, and most of them, Surface Pro 2, Surface Pro 3. So we've spent a lot of money on these. So I would only recommend the Surface Go 2 for those people or frontline workers. Obviously, corporations would buy something like this. Maybe people that work in a facility where they need to count, inventory, and there's one program running on the computer at one time, not multiple. You're just hitting buttons on the screen. That would work perfectly for this. 8 gigs of RAM would probably still be what you want to get. You might not even need the keyboard though. So you may save money. To me, the RAM is more important. It'll make your programs run a lot better. And again, this is great for note taking. If that's the only program, again, you have open, it's great for note taking. In my next video, I'm going to actually show how I've been using my Surface Go plus my gaming laptop as a replacement for my Surface Book 2, because I sold it a year and a half ago thinking that the Surface Book 3 would come out, or a year ago, and it hasn't come out yet. But watch my other videos about the Surface Book 3 leaks. Supposedly it's coming out soon, and we'll do a review on that. But I hope you enjoyed this video on the Surface Go. Is it a go for you? What do you think? Do you have any questions about us? Let us know in the comments if you have questions. Like, comment, subscribe, and if you want to learn how to make money with your laptops and devices and your technology, we also have another channel called Make Money with Tech. So check out that channel as well. This is my review of the Surface Go 2 before it comes out. We'll do a review of it when it comes out as well. But overall, still loving my Surface Go. And let us know, is it a go for you? Take care. Flo, signing out.